Hello everybody, welcome to the first ever Formulalympic weekend. We are in Silverstone for the 1952 Formulalympics race as our opening round. So it is the modern layout. Of course, forgive me, we're not doing like the old classic layouts to fit in the timeline, but where these locations are will be historically accurate depending on where it is now compared to where we've been back then. So, for instance, the Nürburgring, which will be later in the season, will be referred to as the West German race because it would be in West Germany at the time. But we are basically doing the first round of the race is around Silverstone with the F2 and the F1 cars in this weekend. So let's kick things off, the F2 qualifying. Okay, so here we are for the first qualifying session of the weekend. We're doing the F2 division around Silverstone first, and then we will move on to the F1 division, and of course after that the F2 races, and of course the main race, the F1 race. So here's Heinz Klink for West Germany deciding he's wanting to go out and set the professional time. We've got 12 minutes on the clock, so let's see what Heinz Klink can do to get us off the ground for the 1952 Olympic season. 2 corners left to go, and as Heinz Klink makes his way through to the finish line, what is his time? His time is going to be 1 minute 46.4, so that seems to be a good time, but we'll see how everyone else compares. So we see someone going to the start-finish line, and it's a 142.5 from Luigi Villaresi for Italy. So nearly 4 seconds faster than Klink. So good stuff there for Villaresi, and we've got Sam Hanks now the new fastest man, 142.2, and Alan Brad's going to be in third. And we've got the other Western driver, that is Helmut Niedermeyer. Oh, actually, contact there between Hanks and Niedermeyer there. He just rammed it. So Dennis Poor, the other British driver on their home race, is currently 5th with a 144.0. So maybe one position behind his teammate, but he's 1.1 seconds behind. Okay, so wonder if they can improve their position. Maybe getting the top 3 gets some points, because top 3 gets points in qualifying. 3 for first, second gets 2, and third place gets 1. Of course, in the F2 division, they'll only be attending half the races the F1 will be going to. But of course, to make up for it, the F2 will have a reverse grid race where the top 8 get points, so 10 for first and 1 for 8th. But that also means reversing the grid. And the main race will be a reflection of qualifying with 25 points for first and 1 for 10th. So qualifying first is beneficial because it means you're in the main race you're in pole with even more points up for grabs. Ooh, okay, so there is a little bit precarious between Villaresi, who's in third, and Heinz Klink there, but at least they're both through safely. We can see him carry down to the Max and Beckett. He's not going to be anywhere close to Sam Hanks' 1 minute 13. So what is Heinz Klink going to be able to do? He's going to be more than 40 seconds off, so he's going to be behind his own personal best as well. Yes, he is 6 seconds behind the pole sitter at the moment. Speaking of pole sitter, is that the pole sitter behind him? No, that is actually Jim McGrath. Actually, no, that's not. Okay, it's one of the French drivers said. The French driver and the American driver's liveries look too similar. The only difference you can tell are if it has stars on the side. So that's Maurice Trintignant, who's currently in 4th. On his out lap, by the star's flying lap, he's 3/10 behind Villaresi in 3rd. As here goes Maurice Trintignant starting his flying lap, making the move on Heinz Klink into turn 1. Down to the Maggott and Beckett section. Can Villaresi close in on Sam Hanks, or will he have to resort to abort the lap? 113.4 is the time he's trying to catch, and no, he's going to be half a second behind. So he's going to be slower than his personal best once again. So Villaresi, it might make sense for him to abort the time and come into the pits. Now, will Villaresi do that? He is going to abort the time and go to the pits. So here's Helmut Niedermeyer to finish his last run of the session. So he is going to finish his time, but no, he's not going to be anywhere close to being his personal best of 149. So Niedermeyer will get pole in the reverse race, but he will be at the back in the main race. In fact, wow, he's going to be nearly 1 minute. He's closer to 2 minutes than his personal best. That's pretty shocking for the West German there. So Simon Hanks gets the first 3 points, Taruffi gets 2, and Villaresi gets 1. There's Woestrintion on 4th, and then we have the 2 Brits on their home race in the 3rd row. There's Jim McGrath, the 2 West German drivers, and Louis Rossier towards the back of the field. So with that out of the way, it's time for the F1 division, and then we will get on to the F2 races. So here we are for the qualifying session for the Formula 1 division. Of course, 22 cars, which is the maximum on the grid for the first 14 or 16 races of the season. And we've already got someone else going out to set the benchmark. It is Ernst Klodwig for the East German team. So let's see what Klodwig can do to set up the rest of the competition around Silverstone. So Flintman's going to do a 137.2. What about everyone else? Tony Ruttman 136.3. Meanwhile, Klodwig's going to come across the line in a 147, so 11.5 seconds down. But there's his teammate Tony Altman just getting. Oh, we got contact there. That was a bit of a huge hit there, and that must have been the other driver, Kim Wharton, currently now in first. Whoa, there's so much going on. Generally struggling to keep up. So we got Kim Wharton in his home race in first, Alberto Ascari, the number 1 driver, in second. We've got Rudi Fischer third for Switzerland. Then we got Robert Manson 4th, and running the top 5 is Paul Frère for Belgium. So more than half the drivers have already set times. Okay, and this is getting pretty chaotic there. We're on board with Paul Frère. Now Jean Berras now got the fastest lap, 132.1. And there's Peter Hertz now 139.4. Klodwig looks like he could already be in trouble of not qualifying. Oh, we've got Manson up into 7th. Free Fish is now to 4th. So Free Fish now splitting the 2 Brits for the time being. In fact, we've got another driver who's outside the 1 minute 40, and that is Jace Vanderloof. And in fact, he's going to be passed by Robert Manson. Now it looks like Rudi Fischer is also going to try to make the move on the Dutchman. Where is his teammate? Where is Vanderloof's teammate? Where's Flintman? He is 16th at the moment, 137.2. So the 2 Dutch drivers roughly at the back. Coming down sector 1, he is already 3.2 seconds off. He is 6.1 seconds behind pole at the moment, so that's not a good start for the East German. There's a couple of corners left to go. And Rudolf Klaus comes across the line, and he's not even close to improving his time. He is actually going to be nearly 5 seconds slower than his personal best, which is really not good for the East German. I mean, they're already Team East Germany is already in trouble with Ernst Klodwig. He's his personal best is 15 seconds slower than pole, and he's well and truly outside the 110% time for sure. Jose Verón González improved this time. He's now in 8th position. Less than a minute to go, so those that are in the pits, that's the end of the session. So Berra could make 6, he's going to get the 3 points. Farina looks like he'll sell for 2. So Mike Hawthorne looks like he's in contention to get 1 point because he'll qualify in 3rd position. So wait for 15 people to finish their times. Gonzalez 2 seconds slower. Okay, so he's well and truly outside of his personal best time. I mean, we've got problems. Rudolf Klaus has stopped on track. Oh, well, Jose Verón González should have come in. Surely Bianco will go through the car. Okay, I'm going to take it. Let's get a replay and find what happened to Klaus, because that was a. Did he get involved? Okay, so there is. So he's trying to pass somebody. Oh! Okay, so he got into a tangle with one of the Dutch drivers. is that... is that Flintman? Flintman is... Yeah, it's Jan Flintman 16th. So yeah, Klaus just kind of cuts across... Oh my goodness. I mean, Flintman is still moving, but that was a very bizarre collision there between the Dutchman and the East German. But that means Klaus has officially stopped on track, and well, he was going to do the pits anyway, and that was the end of his session. But that was a very, very unexpected crash. Gonzalez in the pit. So there's Ray Fisher, kind of the highest placed driver out on the track. He is in 4th, 133.1. So he is he's just over a second behind Jean-Bert, but it's still a very good position for Switzerland. Getting a Swiss driver in the top 4. Okay, Ray Fisher is going to try and finish his time. He thinks he might improve, but it's not going to happen. I don't think. In fact, it doesn't matter. Wasn't the one we were waiting for. Okay, so here is your professional grid. So we got Berra on pole for 3 points for the Frenchman, Giuseppe Farina 2, and Mike Hawthorne 1. And then you got Fisher looking at the second row, and Clodwig and Loff. Well, we'll need to see if they even made it to the grid based on how far behind they were on their qualifying times. And of course, we have Klaus having a very, very bizarre collision with Jan Flinterman. But anyway, it is now time for the F2 division reverse grids. Okay, so here is the grid lineup for the reverse grid race. We've got Niedermayer on pole with Rosier on in second place on the grid because they were the 2 slowest in qualifying. And of course, the 2 fastest drivers are Sam Hanks and Taruffi on the 5th row of the grid. So without further ado, let's get into the reverse grid race and see what happens. So this is what's going to kick off the Formulalympic season. And here we go, and Louis Rosier gets off to an amazing start, gets ahead of Niedermayer. Heinz Kling trying to see if he can make a pass on his own teammate, and it looks like everyone's going to go out and say, oh no, we've got drama at the back. We've got a bit of drama at the back, but it looks like everyone is still moving. Yes, everyone is still in the race. So Rosier leads, Kling is into second, Niedermayer's dropped to third. Dennis Poor 4th, McGrath 5th, Alan Brown 6th, Villoresi 7th, Trintian 8th, Hanks 9th, and Taruffi at the back. So that was a very, very dramatic start there. So here we go, the race gets underway. There's Taruffi next to him. So coming to turn 1, did he get... Oh, he got a bit of... okay, he had a bit of tangle. Yeah, so... Wow, there's loads of cars everywhere. So let's see. Trintian, there's Jim McGrath going all over the place. Over Trintian's perspective, he must have got caught in some... Okay, so it's McGrath and Brown getting tangled. So that was a very, very bizarre incident in the first corner. So Rosier leads, Kling second, Poor third. Oh, Poor just lost the position to Niedermayer. So Niedermayer third, Poor 4th. McGrath 5th, Brown 6th, Villoresi 7th, Trintian 8th, Hanks 9th, and Taruffi at the back. With that, we've got Dennis Poor trying to move him, Niedermayer, and Hanks Klein takes the lead. The race gets past Louis Rosier. Alan Brown's going to try and get past Niedermayer also into 5th, as they see a bollard go flying. Yep, dancing bollard in the background. As Villoresi gets past Trintian, in fact, Trintian's dropping positions. I'm guessing he's struggling. So, end of lap 1, Klink leads, Poor second, Rosier third. In fact, there's McGrath, looks like just got past Rosier for third. So McGrath third. And looks like Brown is also getting past the Frenchman. So, the 2 Brits in the home race currently second and 4th at the moment. Rosier is down to 5th. 6th place is Luigi Villoresi. And Villoresi makes the move on Louis Rosier into 5th he goes. And then there goes Dennis Poor into the lead of the race he goes. So Klein drops second, McGrath is in 3rd, Brown 4th. Villoresi in 5th, he's right behind the train of cars. In fact, we've got McGrath going a bit wide. Can Villoresi do anything about it? No, he can't. He stays in 5th. McGrath holds on to 3rd. Who's going to set the fast lap of the race? Dennis Poor, no, it's going to be Villaresi sets the fastest time, 1:46.8. So sets the fastest time in 5th place. Still trying to chase down on the British driver of Alan Brown. Here goes Jim McGrath now into the inside of Hans Klink for 2nd. Yep, easily makes the pass unless Klink can try overtake the position. No, he cannot, so he drops to 3rd. Okay, we've got actually Alan Brown has gone to 3rd, so we've got both British drivers in the top 3. But of course, only no medals are issued in the Formula 2. It's only in Formula 1 they get medals. So Villaresi gets into 4th position. So this could be a good chance for Villaresi to get decent points. As most Trintians now going to try and get past Klink for 5th. So Klink has dropped down to 6th. Okay, starting lap 4, will anyone beat the fastest lap? Dennis Poor is in the fastest lap. McGrath is in the fastest lap, 1:46.0. So McGrath 6 times faster than Dennis Poor in that last lap. So that's going to help. That's going to do him wonders to try and catch up to maybe take the lead of the race. Okay, so a couple of drivers setting the fastest lap. In fact, Maurice Trintian, 1:45.1. That's a very, very quick time from the Frenchman in 5th. So he is absolutely determined to try and make up the positions he needs to score a good amount of points in this reverse grid race. In fact, who's the biggest gainer? Well, you expect it to be Hanks because he started at the back, but no, the biggest gainer so far has been Dennis Poor, Villaresi and Hanks. They've all gained 4 positions, so very good performance there from those 3 drivers. So then come the front runners into the pits they go. So they're going to make a pit stop at the halfway mark of this race. So that means the question is, so that means there's only 3 people still out in the as Klink, Rozier and Niederbeer who are considerably behind. Klink's coming to the pits also. So the question is, eyes probably will be on Dennis Poor to try and get out first. Will he be able to go on board this? McGrath is ahead of him in his pits box. Okay, Dennis Poor is on the move, and it looks like he is going to retain the lead of the race. On board with Poor, yes, he does lead the race. Villaresi makes his way into 2nd. And who's going to come out in 3rd? In fact, there's a huge problem in the pit stop because 3rd place is now considerably far behind. It is Sam Hanks coming out in 3rd. And then it is Pierre Taruffi 4th. Trintian's going to come out in 5th. So it's been a bit of a disaster for McGrath because McGrath is still stuck in his pit box down in 8th. So you can't help but feel for McGrath because he was doing so well and it's just not, and his pit crew have made a mistake. So here's Villaresi now chasing down Dennis Poor, coming down the hanging straight. Is Villaresi going to take the lead of the race? Oh, it's going to be close, but it looks like Poor might just hold it. No, Villaresi's definitely got up ahead. Okay, so Villaresi does make its way into the lead of the race. Luigi Villaresi now sets the fast lap. It's a 1:44.7. That's a really, really fast lap. In fact, he was over 3 seconds faster than Dennis Poor in that last lap. So no wonder Villaresi's really pulled up a huge gap between him and Poor. In fact, Maurice Trintian's going to do better. He's going to set the fastest lap now, 1:44.7 in 5th place. He is still, however, 2.5 seconds behind Taruffi for 4th, but he is closing in on the Italian for 4th, so he could still get some decent points. Meanwhile, his teammate Louis Rozier coming down in 9th, and of course, top 8 score points. So as it stands, Rozier and Niedermeyer might finish this race with no points at all. Has now set the fast lap of the race at 1:44.4, but Hanks looks like he's going to have to settle for 3rd because he is 4 seconds down on Poor starting this final lap of the race. So just a couple of corners to go. Luigi Villaresi for Team Italy comes around the last couple of corners to win the British reverse grid race for F2. And he's going to win by nearly 10 seconds. Sam Hanks has caught up to Dennis Poor, but it's just run out of road. But here's your race winner. Luigi Villaresi comes across the line to win the Silverstone reverse grid race. So Dennis Poor just about going to hang on to 2nd place. Sam Hanks did very well to catch up, just didn't have enough road to pass him. In fact, except the fastest lap. Tarufi's going to hold to 4th, Trintion has himself a 5th, and now we just gotta wait for the rest of the finishers of Brown, McGrath, Clink, Rothier and Niedermayer. And here is confirmation of the results. Everyone finished on the lead lap, so no one was lapped at all, otherwise they wouldn't be classified. So there's your final results. Luigi Villaresi wins 10.1 seconds over Poor, Sam Hanks for the half second behind 3rd, Tarufi 4th, Trintion 5th, Alan Brown with a huge gap with 43 seconds and 6th, Jim McGrath, who the race was destroyed by the pit stops, finishes down 7th and gets 2 points. Clink, the last point score for West Germany, and the last two drivers of Rothier and Niedermayer. So here we are for the main race with Sam Hanks in pole position. There's both Italian drivers 2nd and 3rd, Trintion in 4th, both British drivers in the 3rd row, McGrath 7th, Clink, Keith, Rothier 9th and Niedermayer at the back row of the grid. So without further ado, let's get into the main race. Put that on Hanks, and here we go. 17 laps around, and it's a good start from the two front runners, but it looks like Pierre Trophy got a better start. Looks like Pierre Trophy is going to make his way into the lead of the race. Well, it looks like everyone's going to go around turn 1 safely, at least more safer than they did in the reverse race where it was absolute carnage. So Hanks takes the lead, Trophy 2nd, Trintion is up to 3rd, Villaresi 4th, Alan Brown 5th, Poor 6th, McGrath 7th. This Villaresi was under pressure from Alan Brown. And then Clink, Rothier and Niedermayer at the back. So let's get the Formulalympic car into the pits, because we don't want it to cause drama by just sitting there in the middle of the grid. Here they are coming to start lap 3. Who's going to do the fastest lap? 448 for the 448 from Hanks. Looks like Sam Hanks is the fastest man on the track at the moment. In fact, he's now just past the 1 second mark ahead of Pierre Tarufi in 2nd. Maurice Trintion, who started 4th, is now 1.3 seconds ahead of Villaresi. But of course Villaresi qualified 3rd, so he gets 1 bonus point for it. Any positional changes actually? Just Trintion and Niedermayer gaining a position. That's about it at the moment. Now will anyone be the fastest man? Hanks 1:44.7, 2/10 faster than Tarufi in that last lap. Everyone else is doing 45s or 46s at the moment. Clink, Niedermayer and Rothier have really dropped off the pace in comparison to the rest of the field. I mean, I don't expect them to be pitting this early, but there's a possibility they might. Sam Hanks 1:44.7, almost the exact same time as Tarufi, but Hanks does set the fastest lap of the race. So 1:44.702, a 10th faster than Tarufi in the last lap, so Hanks is consistently pulling away from the Italian, but only like bit by bit by bit. So he's not exactly pulling huge time gaps on the Italian. And Sam Hanks 1:44.6, so he's improved his time exactly 1/10 faster than Tarufi again. So again, Tarufi and Hanks saying similar times, but well, relatively similar times. But Hanks is pulling hundreds faster than the Italian. They're again close to the halfway mark of this race. Well, checking further back, let's see the rest. He's still chasing down Maurice Trintion. 1:44.7. In fact, Pierre Tarufi at 1:44.4, so he's just suddenly got the fast lap of the race. Actually, he was 3/10 faster than Hanks in that last lap. So the gap has once again come down to 1.1 seconds. So Sam Hanks now maybe starting to struggle with his tyres. In fact, here goes Hanks trying to lap the Frenchman. Ooh, yep, he does get past Louis Rothier, and now Rothier has officially been lapped. Tarufi managing to, looks like he gets past him relatively easily. And look at that, the gap's now 2/10. He's right behind the American now. Now, are they coming to the pit? Okay, Hanks is coming into the pit. Tarufi, however, is staying out. So what can Pierre Taruffi do to try and make sure he stays ahead? In fact, we've got Trintian coming and Villaresti coming in as well. So what about 6 and 7? So they're coming in. In fact, Pour's going to the pits. McGrath is going to stay out. So McGrath is going to probably temporarily put himself maybe into second. But what is the gap between McGrath and Taruffi then? In fact, oh, we got someone coming out of the pits. That is Sam Hanks coming out of the pits. So McGrath does temporarily make his way into second. What's the gap though? 27.2 seconds is the gap between first and second. Sam Hanks in third at the moment, 30.6 seconds down on the race leader. Okay, so here comes Pierre Taruffi into the pits. So we can expect Jim McGrath to come in at the end of this lap. He is currently 27.5 seconds down on the Italian. More importantly, Sam Hanks in third, 31.5 seconds behind Taruffi. Will he be able to close in on the Italian, or will Taruffi come out ahead? That is the question. So keep our focus on him. In fact, is Taruffi on the move? Taruffi is now stopped. Okay, McGrath's now coming to the pits as we see the lapped car of Rosia just passes. Sam Hanks is now coming down the start-finish line, but Pierre Taruffi is going to be considerably ahead. In fact, he's well ahead of Sam Hanks. And the gap between Hanks and Taruffi, surely that must be about 10 seconds, no, 7.7 seconds, but that's a considerable amount of time Taruffi has got on Hanks now. So the Hanks has got a lot of hard work to do in 6 laps to try and catch up to the Italian again and take the race lead again. Morris Trintion's up to third. Alan Brown's now into fourth. McGrath had a better stroke of luck. He comes out in 5th position. He's ahead of Dennis Pour and Luigi Villaresti. Coming down to the magazine Beckett, McGrath is also right behind. McGrath could capitalize because it looks like Brown's really struggling. Oh, okay, well, Brown manages to get through, questionably. McGrath also makes his way through. So now Villaresti and Pour are going to have to try and lap Rosia, hopefully in an easier fashion than what McGrath and Pour had to deal with. Overtakes the back. Looks like Villaresti and Pour are now really fighting it out. In fact, they're right behind Rosia, and it looks like Villaresti does indeed make his way into 6th place. Meanwhile, the gap between Taruffi and Hanks has gone down to 7.3, so Hanks has clearly managed to close in, but he's now going to have to try and pass Klink now. 144.1 is his fast lap of the race now. So that's good for the American, but it's not good he's got a lapped car to try and pass that Taruffi had already passed in this race. Pierre Taruffi coming across the line to win the Silverstone main race for Formula 2. So here goes Pierre Taruffi, last corner left to go, and there he is. Pierre Taruffi wins for Team Italy and wins the first main race ever. Sam Hanks will come across the line to finish his second, sets the fastest lap of 143.9, but what wasn't to be for Hanks to get second. He took a risk, it didn't work. As Morris Trintian comes across the line to finish in third, just behind Hanks Klink. And here are your final results. Pierre Taruffi wins by 6.4 seconds ahead of Sam Hanks. Trintian gets in the podium, 23.9 seconds down in third. And then you've got Alan Brown in fourth, with McGrath in 5th, Villaresti 6th, and Dennis Pour 7th, and of course the 3 drivers that were lapped in that race, Hans Klink in 8th, Niedermayer 9th, and Lou Rosia at the back. So with that out of the way, it is now time for the main event. But of course, a quick reminder of the grid positions in the F1 division. And here we are for the Gridwalk for the first ever Formulalympic race. So we've got Jean Bert taking pole position with Nina Farina alongside, with Mike Hawthorne getting the final bonus point in his home race in third, with Rudy Fisher alongside in fourth. The other Brit, Kim Wharton, alongside the other Italian of Alberto Ascari on row 3. Then it's Chuck Stevenson from the USA alongside José Furlan Gonzalez, with Robert Manson, the other French driver, down in 9th place, with Chico Landi running up the top 10. And then we have an all-Belgian 6th row with Paul Frere and Johnny Claes. Then it is Fritz Ries from West Germany with the other American driver of Troy Ruttman. And then we've got Tony Allman down in 15th position with Jan Flintman from the Netherlands in 16th position. Then it is the Brazilian of Gino Bianco 17th with Peter Hart 18th. Then it is Rudolf Kraus, the top Eastern driver, down 19th with Alberto Crespo alongside 20th. And we've got Van der Loof and Clodwig, who failed to make the 110% time, and thus we only have 20 drivers on the grid. Without further ado, let's get ready to race. So here we are for the F1 race. We've got Jean Baron Pole, Farina in the front row, and then you got Hawthorne and Rudy Fisher on the second row of the grid, and then towards the back, Kraus and Crespo, of course, Cloudwig and Van der Loof did not qualify, so they're not in this race. But anyway, let's get into the race and find out who's going to win the first gold medal this season in the F1 division. So I'll count off, focus on Bera, and get this race underway. And the lights go out. It's a good start from Bera, holding to the lead, but here comes Giuseppe Farina coming into turn 1. Who's going to get the early lead? It looks like Bera's going to stay. Oh, we've got drama towards the back. Yes, we've got drivers off. Oh yeah, we've got, actually we've got cars blocked as well. So let's get a replay and find out what's happened here. So that was one of the Swiss drivers, I think. We'll go on board with Peter Hart, who started 18th, and see if that was him that spun. Okay, here we go. So he's behind Tony Allman, and no, stays behind. He dropped down to 19th. And oh no, it was the other Swiss driver. Oh, Rudy Fisher is was one that's gone round. Right, go on board with Fisher. Oh, that's a camera view and a half. Okay, so let's see what happened to Fisher. So he started towards the front. Did he get tagged? Yeah. Oh, he got made contact with Hawthorne. Spun around. He tried to get back on the track. Oh, he got absolutely pancaked by someone. And yeah, and that's what on earth was Fisher doing? He just sent Allman on top of Kraus and Bianco. Okay, so let's get this perspective of Fisher. So coming to turn 1, who did he get pancaked by? Oh, so it was a Hawthorne. He got the driver got pancaked was it was Paul Frere from Belgium. Alright, so that is Kraus, Allman, Bianco, Fisher all piled up there. The question is, will they be out of the race because of it? Okay, I need to put my guy back in the pits. So that is an absolute catastrophe. Yeah, we just got a huge pile of cars there. Because the last driver is currently listed is Kraus. Okay, everyone's finally on the move. So Fisher did manage to. Okay, Fisher's got a lot of damage to the car. Bianco dropped down to 19th, and Tony Allman at the back of the field after that amazing bit of chaos. Just because Fisher got hit by Hawthorne, but I'm pretty sure that was a racing incident because, well, I'm pretty sure there was no way Fisher could have avoided that. Meanwhile, towards the back, there's Rudy Fisher chasing down Kraus. Oh, look at he's got a lot of damage to his front wing, the Swiss driver. Qualified really well, only for it to go terribly wrong. And right now, the fastest lap is set by Giuseppe Farina at 135.9. That's helping put the 8 tenths behind Bera. So Farina is closing in, and Bera, well, needs to try and start pulling away if he wants to not be at risk of losing the lead. And further down, okay, we just see Johnny Claes has now got ahead of his teammate. Well, Tony Ruttman is still stuck behind both Belgian drivers. Not Tony Ruttman, Troy Ruttman, sorry. I can't believe I've got keep saying Tony, it's Troy. So anyway, Ruttman was maybe half a second faster than Fred at last lap, but he is still struggling to try and catch, try and make the move on the Belgian driver of Paul Freyer. Coming down to the hairpin, he's going to try and make the pass. Is he going to make it? And yes, Troy Ruttman looks like he's going to make his way into 11th. So Paul Freyer's lost 2 positions in a span of a few corners. So now Troy Ruttman's got to try and catch Johnny Clayton, put himself, well, to make it both American drivers in the top 10. And meanwhile, further up the field, we've got, in fact, Giuseppe Farina is now 1/10 ahead behind Berra, and Farina is going to try and make the move, but Jean Berra is defending the position. Meanwhile, we've got Alberto Ascari, the other Italian, in a battle with Ken Wharton for 4th place. And it looks like Alberto Ascari has in fact made the move stick, and Alberto Ascari makes his way into 4th. 138 from the top 3 drivers. Ascari does a 137, so Alberto Ascari maybe in 4th, but he's now going to try and push on to try and catch Hawthorne, his team Farina, and of course the race leader Jean Berra. And coming around the final corner, we've got the top 3 drivers. There's Alberto Ascari is actually catching up to Hawthorne, so Hawthorne's going to see himself in a bit of an Italian sandwich. Meanwhile, in fact, Alberto Ascari set the fastest lap as well, 135.6. There's Ruttman and Landy now in a fierce battle for 9th, and it looks like Troy Ruttman is into 9th ahead of Chico Landy, but it's Johnny Clayton now to try and get himself back to the top 10 by trying to get past the Brazilian. So coming down to the hangar straight, there's Giuseppe Farina. He's not close enough to try and get the slipstream in Berra. But what about Ascari though? Ascari's going to try and make the move. Oh, nearly managing to make the move stick, but Mike Hawthorne stays ahead of the Italian. And further back, we've got 305 for 5th going here between Mansell, Stevenson, and Wharton. And right now, Wharton is really trying his best to hold off the American and the Frenchman, but I think it might be inevitable that they'll get the jump on the British driver. In fact, here comes Giuseppe Farina now to try and capitalise, not quite able to do it. But he's certainly going to try, because we'll go on board the Italians. We watch Jean Berra trying to make his move around roof across the lap. In fact, Jean Berra's gone and done it. Farina going to try and do it also, and it looks like he's going to... Oh, no, not him. It looks like he's going to get past the German. Yes, he is successfully through. Now Ascari is going to try and get past Mike Hawthorne while trying to lap Kraus as well. Oh, and they're going 3 wide in sector 2. Oh, in fact, further down we see Mansell's going past Stevenson for 6th position. Now can Chuck Stevenson get them placed back as we see Hawthorne and Mansell trying to lap Rudolf Kraus, who's really struggling. Here comes Stevenson now trying to make the move on Robert Manson to get back into 6th. Oh, it looks like it's going to be 3 wide, but Robert Manson coming out getting a better exit than the American. And just like that, Robert Manson has got the position back, so Chuck Stevenson is going to have to really push it to try and get the position back. Meanwhile, we see Mike Hawthorne being overtaken by Alberto Ascari, so we've got both Italian drivers in the top 3 now. So it could be a double medal for Italy right there, but we're only a third way into the race, so anything is still possible as we're getting closer and closer to the halfway mark of the race. In fact, who's made the biggest gain so far in this race? The biggest gainer, okay, it has been Tony Ruttman, who started 14th and is now in 9th, and in fact he might be up 6 places. He's trying to get past Jose Fernando Gonzalez, and the biggest loss is of course Rudy Fischer, because Rudy Fischer lost 10 positions because he qualified 4th and he's 14th. I mean, Alberto Ascari's still pretty well. He's gained 3 places in this race so far. Anyone else with massive losses? Not really, only Fischer. We also got the biggest gains. Robert Manson qualified 9th and is in 6th. And you've got Peter Hart, who qualified 18th and is in 15th now. Okay, so a few drivers have made good gains, but now it's going to be going to make things complicated for Jean-Pierre. There's Alberto Crespo just ahead of him. In fact, okay, Tony Allman's actually pulled up a small gap, so it's actually not. So it will be as big of a headache for the Frenchman as it seemed at first. But here's Giuseppe Farina. In fact, Giuseppe Farina is going to go for it, and Giuseppe Farina. Oh, we got contact there. Oh, things are getting a bit dicey at the front. In fact, here comes Alberto Ascari trying to get himself involved in a piece of the action. And there comes Farina now trying to lap the Argentine. Jean-Pierre also gets past the Argentine relatively easily. Now we've suddenly got a three-way fight for the lead. So we've got Italy first, France second, and Italy also in third. So we've got both Italians sandwiching the Frenchman and Jean-Pierre. Giuseppe Farina is able to pull away because the front runners are all struggling to catch, to try and pass the Dutch driver of Lintemann. And meanwhile, we see Robert Manson has actually managed to pass the Brit, and looks like Manson is going to try and get past Hawthorne. It looks like he's going to be able to do that and make his way into fourth. So we've got both Italian and both French drivers in the top four, and Ken Wharton and Hawthorne are in a scrappy battle for fifth place. And it looks like Mike Hawthorne is going to lose out. Might lose out of this. Yeah, because he's still stuck behind Allman. And while Wharton is going for the inside, coming down Magnus and Beckett. Ooh, like the contact between the two teammates. So we're well into the halfway mark of this race. Sky now chasing down Bear still, who is trying to lap Peter Hurt. That's going to help Giuseppe Farina increase the gap even further, because the two front runners. Oh, the barge in there between Fischer and Berra, and look at that. Robert Mansell managed to sneak past Alberto Ascari. So now we've got both French drivers in the top three instead of two Italians in the top three. So he's managed to do that, and into the pits goes the race leader. So Giuseppe Farina is going to come into the pits. What about Jean-Pierre? Will he be pitting this lap? Yes, he is. He's going to dive into the pits. Robert Manson, the other French driver, is diving into the pits. Alberto Ascari is going to stay out and temporarily take the lead of the race. Now, will it be his advantage or disadvantage? Stevenson is also staying out as Ken Wharton isn't into the pits. So here comes Alberto Ascari to temporarily take the lead of the race. But what will that translate to after the race leaders come out of the pits? Well, I'm not sure so far. There's Stevenson second. Okay, who's gonna be first to come out? Bertin's. Okay, Hawthorne is now Hawthorne stopping. So we've got Ruttman and Gonzalez coming to the pits now. Oh, they're all taking their time. Jean Barrett looks going to break first, and he's going to come out ahead of Giuseppe Farina so he's going to hold third. There's Farina behind him. Hawthorne coming out in fifth. Wharton coming out in sixth. Ruttman is coming out in seventh. Eighth Gonzalez. Manson has dropped to ninth. Okay, so this has been a bit of a disaster for Manson. He's gone from third to ninth, so he's behind Josephine and Gonzalez. So here's Alberto Ascari coming down the hangar straight. Now, will he be pitting this lap, or is he going to try and stay out for a lap longer? Meanwhile, there's Stevenson, 3.5 seconds behind in second. We'll question him also, is he going to stay out or go to the pits? Okay, so Ascari's going to the pits, Stevenson's breaking away to the pits. We've got to overtake somewhere. I didn't notice. Here's Jean-Pierre now, coming down the Max and Beckett's. The question is, can Jean-Pierre catch the two drivers that are ahead of him, or will Ascari and Stevenson jump him along with Farina and the two Brits, Ruttman, Gonzalez and Manson? So a couple of corners left to go for Jean-Pierre, as he might end up coming to lead the race. In fact, no, we got the two drivers coming out of the pits now, and Ascari and Stevenson are going to be well ahead of them. So Ascari and Stevenson come out in the lead and Jean-Pierre is still going to be considerably far behind. He's going to be 5.3 seconds behind, so that's good. So really good strategy from Stevenson and Ascari there. So that is Ascari first, Stevenson second, Berra third, Farina's dropped to fourth. The two British drivers are fifth and sixth. Troy Ruttman seventh, Gonzalez eighth. Robert Manson has been very unlucky and dropped down to ninth. And we've got Chico Landi rounding off your top 10 for Team Brazil. Through a tussle, with a four-way tussle for third. We've got both Brits, Giuseppe Farina and Jean Berra. And here goes Jean Berra now, lapping. Oh, okay, that's Krause who was trying to lap. And the fastest lap going to Troy Ruttman, 134.3. That was a very, very fast time from the American down in 7th place. So it's Giuseppe Farina now chasing down Jean Berra. He's 7 times behind. Okay, now Berra Sky has gone and taken the fastest lap of Troy Ruttman, 134.009. Almost in the 1 minute 33s. That would be an impressive achievement if he was to get if we had a driver get 133 in this race. So in fact, let's get the progress. See where everyone. Who's the biggest gainer? The biggest gainer is Troy Ruttman. Gained 7 positions, qualified 14th, and ended up in 7th. And Stevenson and Ascari both gained 5 positions. They started 6th and 7th in the grid. Another relatively decent gainer is still Peter Hart in 15th, because he started 18th in the grid. And the biggest loss is still Ray Fisher. And the next biggest loss is only 2 positions. That's Berra, Farina, and Hawthorne, because they qualified 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. But it's fair to say they're not really in contention to get points this race. 133.9. So Ascari has indeed got the fastest lap under 134, and that's an amazing lap there from the Italian. Hawthorne get past as well. And meanwhile, Berra Ascari 133.0, nearly in the 1 minute 32s now. Wow, so Ascari is just putting his foot to the floor. He is absolutely determined to make sure Stevenson isn't close to him. So in the race, meanwhile, we've got Mansell finally making his way to 8th. But he's now got to try and pass Troy Ruttman, but he is quite a distance away from the American in 7th. I think it's Giuseppe Farina coming down the hangar straight. Will he be able to make his way back into the top 3 and try and keep the chances of a double medal for Italy alive? And it looks like he is just about to manage it. But Berra is fighting back. And yep, Berra has lost out. Oh, he had to slow down there, because Giuseppe Farina did kind of go off the track. But here comes Alberto Ascari, just a couple left corners left to go. Alberto Ascari is about to come across the line to win the first ever gold medal in the Formulalympic history. Alberto Ascari comes across the line, takes the gold medal. Not quite able to lap Crespo at the end. Crespo just ahead of him at the line, so Crespo has to do another lap. So he'll be officially classified as 2 laps down instead of 3. Stevenson gets a silver medal, a very, very excellent result for him. Giuseppe Farina gets a bronze medal, so a double medal finish for the 2 Italian drivers. Jean Berra comes in 4th, Hawthorne finishes in 5th, Wharton 6th, Troy Ruttman 7th, Manson 8th. Manson had a good race, and his pit stop crew let him down. Gonzalez comes around in 9th place, and we wait for Chico Landi to finish the race to get the final point in 10th place. And here are our official results of the race. As we see, Alberto Ascari in 55 minutes and 15 seconds takes the gold medal, 3 seconds ahead of Stevenson. Then Giuseppe Farina coming in 3rd, 15 seconds down, and Jean Berra almost 20 seconds behind, comes around in 4th. And you got both British drivers scoring decent points in their home race. Troy Ruttman did pretty well to get in 7th. Robert Manson did a decent job to salvage 8th position after his disastrous pit stop. Joseph Gonzalez 9th, and Chico Landi gets the final point in 10th. And of course, everybody finished the race. Johnny Claes was the last driver to not been lapped that race. Then we had Paul Fair down to Tony Allman, who was lapped once. Jan Vlintemann towards Crespo was lapped twice, and Rudolf Kraus, who's had a pretty disastrous weekend in general, first crashed in qualifying, and he was stuck at the back after an incident with Rudy Fischer, and to be 3 laps down. So a race to forget for Rudolf Kraus in that sense. A race to forget for East Germany in general, because Kraus finished last of the runners, and the other East German driver of as Klotwig didn't even qualify to race. With that out of the way, it's time to try and check both driver standings and the national standings. And here's the point standings after the first round of the season. Obviously, since it's the first round of the season, the result is a direct reflection of the result, with Alberto Ascari in the lead, Chuck Stevens second, and round the top 3 is Giuseppe Farina. And the F2 standings is pretty much the same story. First round, which basically means the points table is dictated by the result, with Pier Taruffi out in front, with Sam Hanks taking second, and Luigi Villaresi and Maurice Trintignant in a tie for third, but of course Luigi Villaresi's win in the reverse race puts him ahead in third. And last but not least, the nations table, with Italy out in front, the United States in second, France taking third, UK fourth, Argentina fifth, and Brazil, the last nation to score point, in sixth place. So to summarise from our first ever Formulalympic race, with Alberto Ascari taking an early lead of the standings and Chuck Stevenson following Ascari's strategy to give him a good second place finish, it definitely shows Italy, France and America could be a force to be reckoned with. Will one of these 3 teams end up as the overall nation's champion, or will another team jump in and take the lead of this of the standings? Well, we'll find out in the second round of the season, and I hope you look forward to that race as much as you did in this one. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye!